Man, I cannot wait until the summer is over. I'm tired of scheduling my recordings around whether or not I'll need the air conditioner turned on. Anyway, summer heat for once permitting, now that it's, 12:30 in the morning. First time all day it's been cool enough to actually, sit in my room without the air conditioner on and not feel like I'm in a pressure cooker. And we're back for the challenge series again. Like, what else would we be here for? Numerous Misadventures? Fuck no. We just did that. We just did 20-some minutes of that. No. That ain't why we're here. Yeah, the series of challenges. I should really think about renaming it. The series of challenges. I crack myself up too much. Anywho, yeah, motorsports. We are green from the first race of this episode, and we are really taking our sweet time getting ahead of this camera, huh? It is the 500 class race at the Autopolis shortcut layout. I don't know why they call it that. The Autopolis shortcut layout. The camera is on Sayori in her 65 Mr. Bean machine. I don't think I could drive a car like this. Really like most of the cars on this grid. No, I don't like SUVs or pickup trucks or anything like that too much. I also kind of like to drive a car and not a box. I'm not Solid Snake. And I feel like I would run into like a weed and my car would just blow up. Like, look at this thing, you're basically in a literal box. You are a monkey in a cage. Now the Atenza I could live with. This thing's got some weight. I feel like I'm actually driving a vehicle and not a boxcar. This Sayori boldly weaves in amongst traffic. So it is a Toyota 1-2 at the moment, followed by Honoka, who's probably not seen much in her rear view right now, as is being completely occupied by a refrigerator. Sayori moves into 5th place in pursuit of said refrigerator. Listen to that turbo whine, oh my word. I don't think Sayori was aware there was another vehicle in front of that. Now only the 2 Toyotas remain ahead to conquer. AJ and her friend Natsuki is currently in the lead, but that Aqua might have something to say about it in a moment, as it's like literally tailgating the 8.6. But here's Sayori on the outside at maximum speed, but Natsuki super late on the brakes is able to lead for the moment. But now it's Sayori tailgating the 8.6, but she's not going to sit there forever. She's going to go to the outside of her close friend Natsuki, and outbraking maneuver is completed. Natsuki instead just blocks AJ off at the apex. And then in doing that accidentally gets back to Sayori's right side. She might have this move stuck on the outside, then connect, but now that inside of the hairpin is going to be a pivotal thing for the 8.6 car. 8.6 car? Driver. The car of the 8.6 right. Sayori is not done. She's going back on the outside of the 8.6. the most intense 85 miles an hour you ever did see. And the Mini's gonna pull back into the lead as we head up to the last turn, and she blocks her friend off. Natsuki does not care. She sends it down the inside. Sayori is gonna have to go the very long way around as this is a sweeping turn. Big exit though. This is gonna be right at the stripes. It's Sayori, but not by much. That was quite a last lap turn of events for the duo. Let's just see what this margin of victory really was. Well, it wasn't quite that close. And there it is. I'm looking at the wrong car. No, I just zoomed and just changed to a replay camera. Yep, there is the margin of victory, about a bumper or so. And Sayori in the Mini Cooper is the victor. Eventually, Kevin's refrigerator was victorious over Honoka and the S660. And, I've not been hearing a lot of reassuring comments from Chelsea West. She doesn't feel like this Jeep is really getting her any results. She doesn't know how much longer she can tolerate finishing last for, and I don't know, I don't necessarily think I can blame her. I think she was already just kind of a midfield racer. Wasn't much worth speaking of in the Twisted Invitational days, and then she comes here with an even older Jeep. She just, maybe this just is not, it just ain't it for her. Maybe she should, like, I guess probably just go back to, like, off-road, you know? Obviously the circuit's no place for a World War II Jeep. And we are green for race 2 of the episode. A very loud vehicle on the screen of Suwako in her WRX. As she looks to tackle Suzuka Circuit. Only 2 laps here. We have to kind of get out of the circuit a little quickly here because Super Formula is not far away. There's a practice session forthcoming for Super Formula, so we can't spend all day here. That's why we're running literally at the ass crack of dawn. It's like 4:40 in the morning right now, local time. Or at least it was when the race happened, anyway. I sometimes act as though I'm commentating live when these are post-commentary races. No, it's like 3 in the afternoon, but the race was not 3 in the afternoon, obviously. Why am I in that camera view? Why am I not in chase cam? Suwako nearly gets turned by Miyako and her Z8, who hasn't been showing up too much lately. It hasn't been made abundantly clear why she hasn't been making many races as of late. But perhaps results like this, running 16th as she is now, might contribute. It's hard to be sure. As Suwako is attempting to weave it in out of traffic, but is currently ultra boxed in by many of Thrasher's compatriots. Stephanie's gonna get in the elbows out there on Shaughnessy. Suwako will take the pair of the positions and be on her way. Oh my god, I hate when that happens. And we have a new vehicle. This is not a new driver. Following the engine seizure of his R32, Takahata has decided he is now going to run in his R34 that I thought was destroyed. Or at the very least broken to the point where we need a lot of repairs. I guess he must have hastily finished them. So, I mean, obviously it wouldn't be on the track right now. I can't look at this paint color and not just think of Need for Speed Underground. Like as a fourth wall break. Meanwhile, Minako and Kira, two drifting enthusiasts battling through the S's where they've probably drifted through many times, and my dad, noticing the situation, just sneaks right ahead of Kuchiya and will be on with his day. He is making significant progress through the field as he passed Kazuya very early in the lap. Minako is attempting to take to the grass to get around the Lexus, but produces nothing. Yeah, so I guess he got his R34 fixed. He now runs that instead of an R32. Time is running short on this event. And Suwako has caught the two leaders with just a couple of turns left. Macintosh brakes aggressively into Spoon Curve, but the all-wheel drive is going to make that Subaru a weapon on the corner exit, and that's about as textbook as it gets for a four-wheel drive car. Same momentum carries her ahead of the A220, and with just a couple of turns to go, the leader is now Suwako Moriya. Why did I say that's so stilted? Bit of grass through 130R, final chicane, and no sudden all-wheel drive failures. Suwako is going to head out of the last turn and grab the last second victory at Suzuka. Lynette Mosen will just barely hang on to second place over Tyler. Not the greatest debut for that new R34 machine, managing a mere 10th position. Also not a great race for Joseph Miller, nor is it a good race for the other GTR model in the race, Hikari Taniguchi, who I'm pretty sure started in at least 15th, and is demoted to 18th by the end of the race. Unless I'm getting the GTRs confused, and that's where Takahata started, that's very possible. The only real reference point I get of the starting grid is whatever the hell I witness when the race begins. If the recording begins and I notice, oh hey, this car's starting 8th, then that's all I get. If I don't notice that right away, I don't get jack squat. And for the third race, it is the third installment of the Dirt class. And this time it is the Colorado Springs circuit for 3 laps, and once again, the starting grid gods really seem to like Colin as they put him on pole. Nico, who's established herself as probably second or at least third best in the Dirt division, starts... Well, actually, she started third, but got ahead of Harada off the grid. But somewhere in this field of vehicles is the camera car, or camera truck, which is driven by myself. A recycled Raptor left over from a trophy truck series that I ran under my old team has been repurposed for the Challenge Series while I can't see a damn thing. And some meaty jumps. And you feel every one of them in a truck like this. I don't know how Martin Simpson and Dakota Kingsley do this. But I didn't really have any better options for vehicle to use for this. Like, what am I gonna off-road a Viper? Am I gonna off-road an Integra? Fuck no. And despite being four-wheel drive, you don't really think of off-roading a Skyline either. For some reason, when you think of Nissan, you think of their Z chassis and S chassis for that. Go figure. Already into second. I just swept on the outside of Nico, and I'm being left in no space by Colin Morris. But I care not. I'm in a big truck, he is in a Ford Fuck This, I have a considerable weight advantage. I also don't have a turning advantage, so Colin gets back to my inside line, but actually does nothing with it. On a side note, I really wish the AI in this game actually drove like they were racing on dirt. They just kinda... I mean, they half slide through corners, but most of the time they just look like they're driving normally. It mostly makes the dirt division kinda underwhelming because, I just smoked them. Colin Morris is all kinds of out of shape over that jump. Yeah, look at the way I'm wheeling this thing through the last turn. And then we look at the leading AI and they look like they have perfect grip, but they're also doing like the speed limit. Man, I'm going to need to get my my lower body checked after this. It's like I'm gonna get a puncture in my spinal column. Dirt racing really is not my thing usually. Oh Christ. Dirt racing isn't my thing usually, and I suppose it's just the fact that I'm running this in a vehicle literally purpose-built to be raced on tracks such as this. Probably the only reason that I'm about to take this victory. I'm being carried by this trophy truck. And so the beat goes on. There's a little drone there. I'm gonna take the victory at Colorado Springs. And Colin Morris, who pulled ahead of Nico apparently on that last lap, grabbed second. And we'll never get to figure out how far ahead he was of Nico because the recording cuts out there. So, yeah, there's that. I'm still not actually really sure how I was allowed to win this race. I'm racing against Nico and Colin Morris himself. I smoked the field, and this just doesn't seem right. I'm a GT guy. I'm sports cars. I don't do off-road racing. We are green for the fourth race of this episode. It is Trial Mountain in the 760 class. This seems to be a common location, or becoming one at least, in the Challenge Series now. We haven't really had any tracks officially sponsor us yet. Not like the Twisted Invitationals, where we had like 3 or 4 trying to become the central hub of the series. No, we had brief conversations with that to Fuji. Did not last so long. I partially blame the race that happened there in episode 23 for that. Anywho, present day, it is Riley Blanchard as the Focus driver in her ZR1 Corvette. And it's probably one of my favorite looking cars in the whole series, simply because it represents the closest thing we pretty much have to a throwback in the Challenge Series. This is the reference to her car from the Challenge Series in its original state. when it was in the Assetto Corsa Championship. We've evolved beyond that now. Everyone's running their own custom cars. But Pepperidge Farm remembers, and so does Riley Blanchard, apparently. As she drives the C7ZR1 that references her multiple-time race-winning, and I believe even title-winning, Corvette GTE that she used in that series. She sneaks through ahead of Hikari. That corner is just mind-boggling to me how the AI take it so unbelievably wrong every single time. Like they've never seen a high-speed turn before. Oh boy, DePrisco and Hansen are next to each other. This can only spell danger. Sure enough, Hansen just bodies the Huracan out of the way. Blanchard elects to try and get involved. Honestly, I wouldn't say that's the greatest idea. Riley out-drags the Huracan. He gets the opposite side of the Murcielago, but is blocked off by Travis Wild. The 911 GT1 with probably the weakest straight line speed in the entire category by far. So just walls off the Corvette. Riley gets ahead of me. I was just caught absolutely asleep at the breaking point there. There's just no two ways about that. Caught sleeping in the acceleration zones too, apparently. What the hell? Needing tires, apparently. Blanchard out-drags the Porsche. No issues. None of the Porsches have much straight line speed to offer. They just have sheer cornering speed and not much else. She just swan dives on Ambrosio Reyes and somehow manages to find enough space to put a Corvette through there. I'm not sure how, but she did. And then she gets to the back of the leader, Nico Yazawa, in her Viper. Now we're trying to maybe find a corner where Nico is weak. Both cars privy to on-throttle oversteer being rear-wheel drive. Riley decides to stick it down the inside of the weird tunnel corner I don't particularly like. The Viper straight line performance is just going to dominate the ZR1 down the back straightaway. They're bumper to bumper heading into the hairpin. Riley should be clear here. Nope. No. Maybe. Yes. Riley is clear. Ahead of the Viper into the next hairpin. She gets a bit understeer, or is that oversteer? I can't actually tell. It looks like it might have been oversteer based on the throttle input. She has to catch the vehicle. Somebody's getting oversteer back there. I heard those tires go crazy. Probably wasn't me. As I look at the back. As I look at the back of Reyes, and Yazawa makes an appearance. And that was just awkward looking. And Ambrosio Reyes takes full advantage. Converts defense against me into offense against Blanchard, and might want seconds against the other Viper of Nico. Bit of a squeeze, and Reyes gets ahead. Nico slams the brakes, and Riley is furious about that. Don DePrisco in all this chaos takes position away from me, as I'm currently watching to make sure that Nico doesn't get her ass handed to her. Like that, kind of. Riley attempts to muscle herself through. Finds a wall, but still technically makes it stick. Nico goes back on the offense, smacks the Corvette clear out of the way, and well, I'm just kind of left with nowhere to go but right into her taillights. And you failed. The obvious disapproval coming from the horn of this ZR1. Take a shot. Every time I said Corvette or ZR1 in this race, you're dead. You are simply not alive. Oof. Now, we already had some tension between Riley's mentor and Ellie last week out at the Nürburgring. So, we're doing this now, huh? As Riley seems to more or less intimidate Nico out of the line. No lethal maneuvers pulled off by Blanchard. Just warning shots. Maybe she can sneak the victory from Reyes. I think not. I believe this SRT-10 has too much horsepower to bear. And there you go. Ambrosio Reyes, having taken a little bit of time off from the Challenge Series, is going to collect a victory at Trial Mountain following Riley and Nico's scuffling. Nico remains on the podium, and I have been promptly embarrassed by Lamborghinis, who both passed me on the last lap. Probably because I was being held up by the petty feud between Riley and my teammate. Really did not help affairs at all. Surprising low point from Kawakuta in this race. He's evaluated to have the best car in the series by miles, at least in this race, because Rise Kujikawa and her Veyron isn't here. But he finishes a mere 18th, unable to make any progress through the grid. And he started there too, but he has the best car on the grid. He didn't pass anyone. And we are green from the potluck race. Roulette round, whatever you want to call it. People are going back and forth nowadays, even me. Most people usually just use the two names interchangeably. And we are here at Spa, the focus car being Nico Yazawa in her Viper, which we just saw last time out. Nearly got totaled if she, unless she was gonna, start paying attention to her surroundings a little bit. She now finds herself in a race once again as she gets absolutely bombarded by Black Stallion Motorsports. Almost with Moto Spots. What is a spot? Right here. I was in the middle of cycling cameras there. And we head out of Radion. It's Brandt and Thrasher on the inside, and Thrasher just chumps. Doesn't give her any space to get back onto the racetrack. I can't. Yeah, just chop blocks the Viper driver, puts her in the grass, so obviously she's not gonna have much traction. And then is not really left enough space to return to the road safely, especially not when you now have grass on your tires. Is promptly turned by Thrasher into Siegfried, and around she goes. That beep says everything. One more view of this incident from the exterior camera. And indeed, it is fortunate that she isn't DNF'd from this crash. Probably because it wasn't that forceful of an impact, even at 90 miles an hour. It does get smacked by Mulsanne on the way back onto the road, but Jake actually has the forethought to slow down. Ironically, Nico's teammate Honoka really didn't. Jake is just stuck in LA traffic at the moment, to say the least. Nico's back up to the motley crew, just ignores Thrasher, much to my surprise, I must be honest. Considering the mean streak she has, unless maybe she's actually being considerate of the reputation of the series and decides to maybe just talk it over post-race. Usually Thrasher is one of the last drivers to leave the paddock, so he's not hard to track down post-race and speak things over or give him peace of your mind. When I say that, like, I have the urge to. Not yet. More immense traffic. Nico's just kind of following Brandt through it. And is now being run off of the circuit by the Sylvia driver. Nico doesn't like that, but just spins herself out trying to send a message. So, just making an ass out of yourself now, aren't we, Nico? You Nico need to get your head on straight. A bit of a nudge to the quarter panel, a big nudge to the quarter panel. We're not going to be able to do much to affect that Sylvia on the straightaway of any meaningful kind. She still tries. You know, I was getting the front row seat to this madness. Brandt has to get on the brakes so early. It kind of doubles as an evasive maneuver, though, ironically. Ahead of my dad with no problems, and now she's just faced with Riley and then two of her teammates also driving Vipers, go figure. This is starting to look like Stars and Stripes right now, with the top four being exclusively American supercars. 3 Vipers and a ZR1. Meanwhile, Brandt looks to go ahead of my dad through the little S section here, but my dad, driving a normal car, not a top-fuel dragster with, you know, fenders, was able to just kind of corner better. Nico slithers around her teammate, Hoshizura, and, I can only fathom what happens next. Gives Riley a shove through Blanchimont. And it was, I mean, other than that, it was still a cleanish pass. I was expecting murder, so I'm considerably surprised that we received a none. I think we're just gonna be off on her way. Certainly a more passive solution to this problem than I foresaw. Oh, good lord! I'm not even sure how that even happened, let alone am I sure how she kept the car going straight. Still going forwards. Oh my god. These curbs are just handing Nico her ass right now. And she seems incapable of staying off of them despite this. And boom goes the dynamite. Just keeps it off of the barrier and swings back out in front of Riley, but with just enough space left to where you couldn't really call it unsafe. That was a save. That was also a save. What? I think she's having a tire problem, it looks like. Oh my god! Tell me Mercury Racing used to be a... Never mind. She pulls back out of her shallow grave. I believe she is nursing a... Pause to consult the commentary notes that later I left behind. Oh my god. If I can reach the notes that she left behind in the press box here. Somewhere in here. Here it is. Should I be looking at these the second I begin the recording? Probably. I do believe, yes, it was noted a tire rub took place on the left rear tire of Nico's machine and is now causing undue stress both on the tire and on her. Perhaps the left or the right rear, I'm blind. The right rear tire, you can almost see it there. It's not looking terribly pleased right now. And despite this, Riley blocks her, probably only adding to the total damages to this Viper. That's gonna be a long day in the shop tomorrow. More beep of disapproval. Is Nico's car really in any state to be even, like, combating Riley right now, though? Yes! Yes, it is! That camera really didn't give us any sort of indication of what was going on there at all. I don't think this is any better. Let's do this. And off into the gravel trap with your stupid Corvette butt, I guess. She's able to keep the vehicle running, and she extricates herself from the gravel. Karma's coming back to get Nico as that tire rub is just getting worse and worse on that Viper. She's essentially driving a 3.5-wheel car right now, and the other half of that fourth wheel kind of wants to go the other direction at all times. She can't brake at maximum force, she can't really accelerate much, she can't even steer as much as she wants to. Because any sudden, his car is like a dinosaur, any sudden movements will set it off, and it's going to be ugly if that happens. We've already seen it a couple of times, so. Fortunately for her, looking at that session timer in the corner, this is the final lap. And, although it hadn't even been mentioned up to this point, because the main focus has been on Nico, on Riley, and on Nico's right rear tire, I'm going to get my revenge on this track. Last time I was here, I totaled an RX-7. This time I'm here, I'm going to be taking the checkered flag here at Spa. And Nico is around. Throw it in reverse, Yazoo! Probably save time rather than whipping it around. Riley survives for the podium despite Nico's best efforts, and I believe we just saw Jake steal P4 from Reen at the last gasp. And indeed we did. But yeah, I'm gonna have to probably give Nico a bit of a talking to. I'm probably gonna have to give it Thrasher to do the same because I would like to not be in a faction war. We just got done dealing with a lackadaisical psychomaniac running the place. I nearly died trying to deal with her 3 separate times. So I would kind of not want to be in a feud with the team run by one of my best friends. Thank you very much, Nico.